Hey, this is Brent Jensen, and you're listening to No Sleep Till Sudbury, the show where we talk about the music that makes your skin vibrate. This show is brought to you by Storyfora, a media agency providing promotional videos, podcast production, and all kinds of digital goodies that you can use to broadcast your brand to the world. Go to storyfora.com for details. That's P-H-O-R-A, storyfora.com. All right, in this episode, we feature not just one Canadian musical icon, but two. Rik Emmett and I were joined by the great Ian Thomas, because Ian and Rik were both just inducted into the Canadian Songwriters Hall of Fame on the very same night, which was really cool because they've been close friends for decades. So we talk about that, we talk about their current projects, and much, much more in part one of my chat with Rik and Ian. Here they are. Okay, we are back here at Rik Emmett's home, and we're here with Eli in Eli's Loft. And today we have a very special guest. His name is Mr. Ian Thomas. Ian, thank you very much for joining us.
My pleasure.
Been a big fan for a long time. Very glad you're here. It's a privilege to meet you. Now, you guys were just inducted into let's jump right into it, Canadian Songwriters Hall of Fame. You guys have been friends for a long time.
Yes.
More than 40 years.
Yeah. In some respects, I'm getting a little tired of him. His act's wearing a little thin with me now.
Wow, 40 years is a long
kidding.
time.
I'm kidding. He was a cruel man, but fair. Can I say this? To be inducted in the same night that Ian was going into the Hall of Fame.
I thought that was so cool.
It was a really beautiful thing for me. It enhanced the whole experience, and sitting with your family and then looking across the aisle and there's Ian with his family. It was like, okay, this is pretty good.
It was lovely.
This is pretty great.
There was what I loved about the whole event, and our friendship was front and foremost in there. But it was really about a celebration of song, and all the people who were there were all dedicated to the art of songwriting, and it was a very different group.
It was eclectic.
With Jane Sibley, just
Yeah,
a wonderfully wacky take on the world, and writes some very, very beautiful music. Rik from the harder rock era, and me sort of all over the map with no particular focus. and
Andy Kim, Sugar Andy Kim,
Yeah.
and Gino,
Alfie Zappacosta.
Always a fascinating writer. So to be in the presence of these people, different facets of writing songs, was just such a joy, because it reminded me of the variety we had in radio growing up.
Yeah,
you'd hear Dave Brubeck, then the Stones, then Roger Miller and the Beatles, and Frank Sinatra, and Johnny Cash, and the 1910 Fruit Gum Company. And it was just this all coming out of a mono AM speaker. And honestly, I don't think any of us would have been nearly as stimulated as writers, but for an exposure to such a broad variety of music.
Really?
It's true. They do a thing to the board of the Songwriters Hall of Fame. They find young artists to perform your stuff, and that's part of it. That you're celebrating sort of the next generation of people that are getting introduced to this idea of, no, there's an eclecticism that exists here. There's an aspirational thing about songs that. So that was kind of a sweet thing too. And you mentioned Alfie. Alfie wasn't getting an award. He sang one of Gino's tunes.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So Alfie was a performer. So that's a kind of a cool thing too. Like Katie Lang, gave the prize to Jane and introduced her speech. So there's that. Somebody induct you. Tom Cochran inducted Triumph.
Oh.
Murray McLaughlin inducted me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's a kind of a cool thing too, because you're also getting to see, I don't know, peer recognition,
right?
And that's a sweet thing to get.
Definitely. Yeah.
It was humbling. It was a humbling thing, because it wasn't about you as much as it was about that scenario of Schopenhauer's, music is the greatest of all of the arts because it can enter the soul without your permission. I mean, I love that, and that to me was really what we were celebrating, that each one of us somehow had some music that was taken into the hearts of other people and resonated there.
Yeah.
My God. So we were there out of privilege. It was just a privilege to be there. It was wonderful.
Mm-hmm. And so great that you performed once again right before your eyes.
Yeah,
together.
Rik on the top part. And that was a fave for me. I loved that, it wasn't a big song and dance thing. It was just three people who have known each other for years gathered around the fire and singing a song.
Piemonte was the music director of the house band is Lou Piemonte.
Mm-hmm.
And Ian's used him on stuff. He played on some Triumph albums. Lou's been around a long time. And
he was on the show we did together.
Yeah, and
30 years ago.
So I got an email from him early on when the announcements were being made. Hey, you're going to get inducted, and he said, "You remember we did that CHCH TV show In Session where we sang, and there was like a shot of the three of us together." And he sent me the clip from the internet, and said, "Check this out. What do you think if we recreate this moment?" And I went. He says, we could put it up on the big screen and it'll be there, the old clip from 1988. And then we'll, focus will move down and we'll be on stage, the three of us, and we'll do the tune live.
Such a great idea.
It was love. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Was great.
I love that. It looked like you guys had a lot of fun during that show in 88.
We did.
In Session.
Yeah. Well, Ian in particular there's a couple of moments. There's one where he was, I think maybe we were out on the floor and he was telling a story, and then they went, "Hey, come into the control room and sit down and tell the story, and we'll get the two of you." And so he was telling some story about woofers and tweeters. Was it a written bit?
No.
Were you just improvising it?
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh man! And I was crying, laughing. It was so funny.
It is very funny.
I'm glad they used it in the show, but it wasn't exactly us playing songs. But he also sang a Kinks song, and we did a.
Oh right!
Wasn't that fun? You really got me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I loved that song when I was 15. It was out, and that guitar solo, I think, to every teenager was a big F you. It just at the top of your lungs, you turned that thing up in the.
Oh, yeah.
I think they might even slit the speaker.
They did
in the amp in order to have it that
to get the
fuzzy sound. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Well, at least an apocryphal story. Who knows? But
Yeah.
And before the solo, he had been having an argument with his brother. They didn't get along.
Really? The Davies brothers didn't get along? Oh.
And so, who was the other one? Was it
Ray and Dave?
So Ray gave him some sort of condescending nod to do a solo. Before the solo hits, it was they drowned it out with an all right, but there was a fuck you. Actually, a fuck you before that.
Great.
It was just great.
That's perfect. I've never heard that story
Oh,
before.
me
That's a
either.
good one.
Wow.
Yeah. Plus, we did a Led Zeppelin song.
You shook me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was singing it crazy, like just
Yeah.
ripping it. It was fun, and we had a good band. Lou Piemonte sort of was the
Who drummed on that?
Yeah, good question. Was it Charlie Cooley, maybe
I think so.
from Manteca?
I think so.
Because I was using Charlie on some demos I was doing at the time, and so it might have been Charlie. I don't honestly. Who was the bass player?
Just plain fun though.
Did we have a Pilch as the bass player?
Could have been David
Okay.
Pilch.
Not sure.
Okay. Well, anyways, it was
But
in the mists of time.
Right Before Your Eyes is a perfect song. I've loved that song for a long time. I want to talk about that song a little bit because, Ian, we've not met before. Rik hears me gushing about you. There's so many great elements. You name check Valentino and Garbo. We were talking about the lyricism and rhyming Valentino with limousine. Oh,
Yeah.
I love that. It's like Sting used to do that. On Sydney Out of Mondada, there's a song called Canary in a Coal Mine.
Yeah.
And he rhymed Forenza with influenza. It's very creative, right? But yeah, and the chorus in that song it's fantastic. Now, I have a question about that song for you. And I've been thinking about this for a little while because I've always loved the song. Right before the tag, there's a drum line. And Rik and I had a really cool conversation about this. I didn't realize before that it's got a calypso feel. I heard that drum line, and the way that it's played, it's like rat-tat-tat-tat-tat. It's got like an island feel. I always wondered if there was a story behind that.
No. It was just something that occurred on the floor. And he does, I think it's like a triplet. Right? So it's a triplet. I mean, we put everything but the kitchen sink in that was handy. You know, I mean, the Mellotron flutes, I certainly could do without those now. But hey, we had them. And
Whose Mellotron was it?
That was mine. I bought a brand new Mellotron.
Really?
8 seconds of tape. Yeah, that's all you could hang your note for. And we borrowed Geddes down the road, who got it from Oscar Peterson.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
And it was a dual keyboard Mellotron that had he had a library that was insane.
Wow.
I mean, Peterson was a big synthesizer collector.
Yes,
He had
yeah.
a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
So anyway.
He had a very strong connection with Roland. And,
Yes.
Yeah. And
So that just that song just more or less materialized around. It was the Fender Rhodes part, and it was one of those songs where I was visited with an unmerited grace of inspiration.
20 minutes, right? You said?
Yeah. So, and now this is an odd one because we were playing at some horrid pub down in Niagara, and I asked the road crew to drop the roads off at my house, even though I think we were going back the next night, so they could pick it up. And they set it up in the kitchen, and headphones. I could write quietly, and I wouldn't. My daughter was directly above me. And that whole song, it wafted in, and it was about 20 minutes.
Wow.
And there it was.
Start to finish.
Yeah, pretty much.
But it shows he's a pretty nice little piano part, pretty tidy little. Were there other songs that you had written or that you knew that you learned when you were a kid that had that boom, 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 chicka, boom, 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 like it? That's very McCartney to me. That it has this very rolly, gentle kind of thing. And then your right hand is playing these like. Like it's just triads. But is that how it started? Did it start with a boom, 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 and you're playing little triads against it?
No, the rhythm wasn't even in there. Was I doing it in the left hand?
Did you write it to the melody?
I actually, the groove came about just simply because the 5 was easily accessible while I was doing the right hand.
Yeah.
So da da boom ba da da. So
Yeah.
that it was just sort of a natural feel.
I know, but that's what makes it so great.
Right.
And then when you get a guy like Pamonti playing it, so that we're free to sing it, it's like, it's just so good. Just sits there, and the harmonies are all those nice little tight triads,
Yeah.
Very Beatles,
Yes. Right? Yeah, definitely.
I don't hear the Beatles in that, but
What do you hear?
I hear more maybe the influence of Crosby, Stills, Nash, or maybe America.
Oh, yeah,
did
yeah.
those tight 3-ways a lot.
Who, of course, ended up doing the song.
That's right.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was kind of interesting. That was a full circle for you, because
Yeah.
I remember going on a show, and it was an AM radio show, and the guy Ian Saddles is with us today, ladies and gentlemen. And of course, we all remember that great hit of His Horse with No Name. It was just a typical bad, unresearched interview with some jock on AM who loved the sound of his own voice.
You know what, though? If you had the guys from America sitting here doing the show, they might say, who was a big influence on us was Ian Thomas. When we were writing Horse with No Name, we were...
I loved, and my folk group, we were all about harmonies.
Yeah.
That was in 1970. So right out of school, you sing this part, and you sing, because I heard them all in my head.
You were a big fan of the association, and
yeah, I was. I loved the. Honestly, they had such an odd cross section of. The bass player always went for really odd low parts that made the chords not what they were intended. Almost, they were just really very hip chord structures, where you could even get away with some wonderful dissonance from time to time.
Mm-hmm.
So I was a big fan of that, and of the '60s. Actually, I loved, from the Beach Boys on. I loved hearing intricate vocal parts, and as a kid, when we would go on holidays with my mom and dad. Well, my mom was a musician, my dad was a Welsh singer, and so we'd be singing these songs, and I called myself a slot singer. Because I would always find a hole where there was room for another part.
Oh.
And my voice would naturally go there. And sometimes when I'd be trying to arrange a vocal part, I would just have to put headphones on, get my sound on sound tape machine, and my voice would automatically go to parts.
Oh, wow.
So in 3 takes, I had 3-part harmony because my voice would just slot.
Nice, eh?
Wow.
It was a bit of a gift,
Right. Yeah. Truly.
Well, maybe ear training from my mother, and because there was always music in the house.
I can remember my mom used to make me do the dishes with her after dinner, and I hated it. The drying of dishes and the putting away of dishes. But my mom said, "Well, we're going to sing." And she taught me how to sing harmony. And I still remember there was one song called "Bendemeer Stream." There's a bower of roses on Bendemeer Stream. They were like barbershop quartet-y kinds of songs. And her and her sister used to do it when they were kids. And so this was the thing. And so I started learning how to sing harmony from her.
Oh, wow.
And then I was such a shy kid that my mom thought, to get him out of his shell, I'm going to drag him along with me to choir practice at church, and he'll sit in the choir loft at Thursday nights at rehearsal. And eventually I was wearing the gown, and I was a first soprano with the ladies. And
human voice is powerful. It's really, if you want to just sit down and meditate over life, whatever, get the Rachmaninoff Vigil, it's called, and there's a particular recording with the Kansas City and Phoenix choirs. There's like 100 voices in this big cathedral, and oh my, you will visit people who are no longer when you're listening, and you'll listen with a lump in your throat.
Well,
and it is
choir always does it for me too.
It is that territory of it enters your soul without permission, and it's just amazing.
Wow.
So harmony has always, I think, in both of our lives, obviously, there's no better time to be introduced to harmony than when you're a child. And your mother did that to you. My mother did that to me. And it's sort of been a big whack of my life when I'm arranging for orchestra. I hear all the parts. And they're easier to scribble down because I hear the damn things in my head,
Yeah, well, I wish I had your gift. I got to work at it a little bit. I got to search around. They don't just naturally drop into the cracks for me. I have to seek around and make.
Of course, there's discipline involved. Has to be.
We were cranking around having lunch earlier, and we were talking about God and how unhappy we are with all of that stuff. But I will say this, that going to church to sit music at church this is God. This is as close to God as I'm ever gonna, and you can still get there. You can get to this place of, and it's harmony that does it. Harmony is this thing that makes you, feel like, okay, life is okay. Life is going to be good.
Mm-hmm.
There's a really brilliant moment that dawned on me when I was 13. And it was when JFK was killed. And at his funeral, the flag is on the box. And the Marine band played Abide With Me. Except that piece of music was originally called Eventide. There was no choir putting on, religious lyric. So the piece of music was, it crossed all cultures. There was no mentions of Jesus or God or particular, that all the cultural, contraptions that are attached to religious lyrics. And years later, I found out that was Gandhi's favorite piece of music.
Oh.
Not the choral version, just that it was the funereal version that played around the world with this U.S. Marine band. And I remember I was weeping with this thing. So there is the music entering your soul. And the guy who had originally written that piece of music, it was called Eventide. It's about the dying light of day. And it came out of him saying goodbye to his brother, who was on his deathbed. And after his brother died and he watched the sun starting to go down, while those emotions were raw, he wrote this piece called Eventide.
Nice. Wow.
And I got to tell you, in the harmonic structure and melodic nature of that thing, all of those feelings are alive. And it's like pouring water onto a special formula. You just and it just explodes.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what that song did for me.
I know what I'm going to be Googling afterwards.
Yeah.
So what am I looking for again? Tell me if I'm typing into Google, I'm going to be looking for...
Abide With Me.
Okay.
Da, 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 da,
And was there a particular recording of it? Do
Well,
you think the Marine band of the...
I wonder.
Did they do a recording of it? Okay.
I would hear it, of course, because my mother would play it on the piano, because she played all the hymns.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Because she was a church organist and choir leader. So hers was always kind of a Mrs. Mills version of it, though. She had kind of that 40s. She used to play for the troops before they went away.
Oh, yeah.
And so she had that sensibility to her playing. Everything went through that Mrs. Mills approach.
Yes.
To piano.
Yeah.
But when it came to Abide With Me, the harmonies were an intrinsic part of it. So you couldn't help but avoid some of the voicings that you heard in the organ music.
Yes.
Because I think it was sheet
You know,
music.
you're making me, and I'm sorry I don't want to be stealing your show here.
Please.
I was down in Cancun and just recently doing this event, where it's like nostalgia and rock bands. But one night when we first got there, we went to see Howard Jones. You know the guy?
He's great, yeah.
Yeah. And a piano player kind of guy, British, and a little bit of sort of Mrs. Mills in him.
Good writer, though.
Yes. And the thing that I really noted was from song to song to song in his set, a lot of stuff just comes back to the 3 chords and the truth thing, right? Like he's got the 1-4-5 of a song, like they're there. So like even the big hit, like no one ever is to blame, bap, bap, and all the songs kind of do that. They keep coming back to that, pretty accessible harmonic core, but they really work. Like it was a very, I went, yeah, this is how you write pop songs,
Oh, yeah.
And he's only 70 years old, but he sings great. Still sings really, really good. Good band, really tight. It was kind of fun, Plus he was wearing a red jacket. They did sequins, and whenever the lights hit him, I thought, man, I gotta get me one of those jackets. It's like I'm looking into with the naked eye. I'm looking at Sirius, and the light took 9 years to reach Earth. Like, wow. Anyhow,
Solid proof, though, that a good song transcends.
Oh yeah,
the generation
absolutely.
of-
Which of course is what we were celebrating tonight at the Songwriters Hall of Fame thing. I was telling him earlier, songs are going to outlive us. That's this lovely thing.
Yeah.
But how great is that? So you've earned your own mortality almost in a way, right?
Yeah.
So yeah. So who needs religion?
It takes luck. You sort of have to be the right thing in the right place at the right time for it to happen. But then now you just got to get out of the way of the songs. The songs are actually doing this thing. They're playing my song during hockey games. And you go, okay, it works. Yeah, that's great. That's fine. Good.
So before you came over, Ian, I asked Rik a question. And I said, so when you were writing, those evergreen songs that we all know, the Triumph songs, did you imagine at that time that they would be playing them at hockey games in 2025, or that any of this would be happening all these years later? His answer was, yeah, I had hoped so, but I was thinking in that regard to a degree.
I think you have hope for your music as you would for your progeny. So you would hope that some of your music might be of use to somebody else. And might see the light of day. I always just really wrote for myself. I had a difficult time trying to write with other people because I liked the headspace of sort of being solo in this infinite pool.
Mm-hmm.
And so pretty selfish. So I always hoped I would have hits with them. And as it turned out, other people had more hits with my songs than I did. And so bit of a devil's bargain there, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, back to the progeny discussion, or end of the of thinking of songs as progeny, that other artists would invest their careers into one of your songs. Because, let's face it, when Santana's album was not going to be released by the label without a single, and I don't think he particularly wanted to have a single. I think he wanted to put that album out. And so I felt badly for him as an artist. But I felt great that my song had more legs. So, it's did I expect that you think all of your songs, you wish all of your songs are going to be hits.
Right.
And then when one of them does hit, you see?
I knew I had it in me.
Yeah.
Good thing I spent so much attention to that Abide With Me tune. It taught me something. Listen, I have a story I want to share.
Okay.
Because you mentioned the Hold On, Santana song that he wrote. Now, so when we were going to go into the Hall of Fame, you could write a speech. And so I sit down and I'm writing my speech, and then I find out later, because there's 3 of us in the band, we're all going to get 90 seconds. Yeah. I go, well, there goes my speech. Flush that down the toilet, right? But one of the things I did was I go, okay, so the song that I wrote called Hold On, which Triumph had done, which was it did pretty good at radio. It did all right. And this past year, it had been the Coalition of Music Educators in Canada had decided to make it be this. We're going to use this as our fundraising kind of song. And I know you've done this in past years. You did one with Mark Jordan, right? Yeah. Same group of people, and they pick a song. So, anyways, I go Google. I'm going to find out. I think there's been a lot of songs that called Hold On that have done well. How many exactly? Would you guys like to guess how many songs have charted on Billboard called Hold On?
I know 4 of them anyway.
I know 2 of them. So there is a number in your mind right now.
Oh, yes. Right? I did my research.
So what's the number?
17.
I was going to say 12.
17. And at the same time Triumph song was out, there was a guy named Ian Gomm, Gomm, and he had a song called Hold On. Doesn't sound anything like, and it charted better than ours. Yours did better than mine. Yours made it to, with Santana, I think it even might have gone top 10 or top 20 maybe.
Top 20s.
Yeah, I think Triumph's only made it into the low 30s, on the Billboard chart.
Really?
And of course, we were all outstripped by the girls from I can't remember what they're called now. Brian Wilson's kid.
Oh, yeah.
Wilson Phillips.
Oh, Wilson Phillips.
They had one that was a huge, it was a number 1. It's the most successful Hold On of all.
Is it Hold On for One More Day?
Didn't pop into your heads, did it?
Is it Hold On for One More Day? Is that that song?
Yeah, it was
that
called
just
Hold
came
On.
into my head for some reason. Yeah.
for one more day.
That was like late 80s, I believe, wasn't
Yep.
it?
Yeah. That was the biggest hold on of them all.
Really?
17. Because there's been dance songs called that and R&B things. And yeah.
And Dan Hill had a very, very precious hold on to what you believe in, I think.
Okay.
His catchphrase. I had a kind of a garbage lyric in mind. It was just what popped out, and I scribbled it down, and I was trying to put something deep and philosophical in it, and then my wife said, "Don't ruin that song. It makes me feel good." And I wasn't even going to put it on the album. And,
Oh, really?
So I left it and put it on the album. And
Wow.
I thank her for that.
Jeez.
I like that tune. I like your.
Me
I
too.
don't like your hold on more than mine. I like it the same.
Well, it's your
That's
only
fair.
child, for God's sake.
I know.
I much prefer your children to mine.
Mine grew from, I was like strumming the chords, like sitting alone, and I think it maybe I had a 12-string guitar. We were talking about your 12-string earlier, and I had those the chords that are like these, these things. So it's a little sequency kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
And I was just like, hold on. That's pretty good. I'll use that. I'll just scribble it down. So literally, it was vowel sounds, I think.
It beat it
Wow.
blah blah, which was the first pass.
Yes. Blah, blah. Yeah, that's not going to cut it. Has there ever been a song on Billboard that had I think 17 times held on? No,
That's interesting.
Yeah. So.
All right, that concludes part 1 of my chat with Rik Emmett and Ian Thomas. Stay tuned for part 2, coming very, very soon. This has been No Sleep Till Sudbury with Brent Jensen, with my very special guests, Rik Emmett and Ian Thomas. Till next time, take good care.
Brent Jensen is the best-selling author of No Sleep Till Sudbury, Leftover People, and All My Favorite People Are Broken. All titles available in stores and on Amazon worldwide.